Okay.
Hello, Guru Nation. Welcome to episode 144 of Random Musings from the Clinical Trials Guru. This will also go on YouTube because we are joined today by Deborah and Freddie from Principal IRB. And we've never had anyone from an IRB on the show, on the podcast. It's very tough to find you IRB folks willing to come on camera. So we want to give you guys, first of all, we're very fortunate to have you on. We're very thankful. And we wanted to get into your background, your story, and then the thesis for why Principal IRB even exists. So can each of you give us a little background on yourselves?
Absolutely. Hi, Dan. Hi, Chris. Thank you for having us on. We are fans, and I listened to your podcast recently. And
Thank you.
First, listen to a podcast. It's great. A little bit about myself. I'm Freddie with Principal IRB. We're a new IRB, not new to IRBs. We had a company previously, and we have started Principal IRB in 2016. We launched the end of last year, so we're relatively new with Principal, but we're located in Central Florida, but we review all over the United States.
Okay.
For IRB, we do local work as well. I was a board member for many, many years, so I have a lot of experience with the IRB from that standpoint. And also with regulatory, I did a lot of QA work, a lot of study management, and with the other company, I rose to the ranks of COO, so I ran the company.
Wow.
And so, yeah, so I'm very excited to finally have started my own company with my good friend, Deborah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. So, Deborah, give us a little bit on your background and, why does Principal IRB exist and who are you guys and all that good stuff.
Well, Principal IRB started, as said, in the end of in 2016. We just really started working end of last year. I was the president of Liberty IRB. It was purchased by Chesapeake for one big capitalist. So I really wasn't ready to give up the IRB world, and it was kind of forced upon me. So Freddie was our COO, and we just decided to go ahead and continue the business. It's exciting. We are a 21 CFR Part 11 compliant digital platform, just like all the large IRBs have. But we are more of a boutique IRB.
Yeah, just like us, we're a boutique CRO. Chris Sauber, I know you've been begging me to get IRBs on the show.
Oh yes, begging.
Now you have the opportunity to ask anything you want.
So first, let's clarify: is that hyperbole or?
Yes, but we've had people, and I have questions. I've got some questions from Instagram, and I have some questions too. But Chris, go ahead. Anything about IRB? The challenges of being a boutique. I mean, we can speak about that. Although I do think the industry is headed towards more of a boutique model, as opposed to the last decade. But that's just speculation. But for our sake, I hope that's the case. There's a lot of different angles we can go with this interview, but just any questions?
Sure, a couple questions maybe. So from a site perspective, Dan and I own a few sites. When it comes to advertising, what and at what time does it need to be reported to the IRB, or IRB approval needs to be sought? So if we run a general ad on Craigslist for patients, very generalized ad, say it's a diabetes study, and we mention we have a diabetes trial. If you have diabetes, contact us. Some IRBs say this needs to have approval, and then some do not. One, what's the standard, and what would you say?
Well, in doubt, you want to submit. Anytime that you're using material for recruitment of subjects, the general rule is that you want to submit that to the IRB. But it's better safe than sorry. So if you have that feeling that it's something that you need to submit, then you probably want to just go ahead and submit that to your IRB, or at least go ahead and ask the question if this is something that I need to submit.
Is that good?
Well, so again, if it's nothing specific to the study other than the indication, so do you feel in your IRB, would you think that needs to be submitted?
Well, we've had submissions for what's termed generic advertisements that would be used as recruitment material for subjects. So it's not specific to any particular study, but you are seeking participation from what would be potential subjects. So it would need to be reviewed by the IRB.
I have a question actually related to this, so thank you. And actually, a lot of the Instagram questions are about social media, and obviously that's what's important these days to sites. As an IRB, do you guys audit your site's behavior online? Like, let's say you're in charge of a study. Is it common practice for an IRB to look at how those sites are marketing and advertising themselves? Or do you just kind of take the site's word for it that whatever they're submitting is what they're actually advertising?
I wouldn't say that that we would be auditing or policing it. What you do is that when you submit to the IRB that material for review, you submit what you're going to be advertising. So if you're submitting those ads, whether they're on social media or whether they're print or whatever, you're going to submit what you're going to be putting out there. So if it's a digital ad, then you may be required to submit that ad in that format.
Yeah, because I ask because I've always wondered. I use Craigslist a lot as a site owner to post for just to brand my site, and we're very careful about what we put out there. First of all, on Craigslist, we almost never use study-specific info at all. If we post anything, it's more about us as a site and what we offer, not about a particular study. But now, looking at other postings on there, there's some sites, especially here in the LA market, they get pretty aggressive. And it's funny because I'll bring in a coordinator and we'll just read the post and laugh. Like, there's no way an IRB ever approved this. So, I know it's going on. There's not much you can do. But, who's actually policing this stuff? Or if anybody?
Well, what approved, if you were to submit something to IRB, what you would get for is what you submitted. And that's what's going to be stated or documented, and that that be under, or not to adjust to that. And when it comes time for renewal, then you have to submit what you're using, and that's where it's going to be checked, and we will make sure that what you're using is what has been approved. So no, you're not to make any adjustments or modifications to that unless you submit that for approval again. That's how.
And again, so I always talk about the difference between branding and sales for research sites. So Sales would be posting something on a Facebook or Craigslist for a particular study. No one would argue you need IRB approval for that. Branding, let's say I'm a site and all we do is schizophrenia studies. So I'm branding my site as schizophrenia specialist, schizophrenia. Like we're building our online presence as authorities in schizophrenia. The end goal is, of course, to recruit patients because that's what business we're in. But we're really just branding our site's capabilities to the community. So I would argue that doesn't need IRB approval. However, to be on the safe side, like you said, you can at that point go and get that particular posting approved by an IRB. You'll pay an extra fee for it. Usually the sponsor will reimburse you for it. Is that what you're recommending the safe route would be for a site?
That's something totally different, because what you just described sounds like an advertisement for your business, which has nothing to do with subjects. An IRB is for the protection of subjects. I am not approving advertisements for your business.
Thank you very much. I think we finally got clarification. I've always thought that, and but sites are so skittish. I mean, it's IRB this, IRB that, and I'm telling them, not everything goes through an IRB. Like, there's no laws or rules preventing you from branding your business. Now, if you're recruiting for a study, yes. If you are branding your site, no.
But are you recruiting subjects? Is that an advertisement to get subjects into your site? That's different than you saying, okay, well, my site is X. Then, okay, come to my site for X. Those are two totally different things.
Right. No, it would be just the first part. My site is X. If interested in learning more, contact here.
The role of the IRB is to protect subjects.
We got clarification, finally. It only took 15 years to get Thank you very much. So, you know what? We're going to have a guru conference in Orlando. Well, actually, I probably shouldn't have said that, but we're going to have a guru conference in Orlando next year, hopefully. May 2019, exactly a year from today. And we would love for you guys to come out there. I know that's your neck of the woods. And present as the IRB representatives, because so many sites are confused by these things. I mean, I can get into one of the questions from Instagram now, and I want to talk more about you guys as a company, but Chris wants to say something.
I actually had another question.
Go ahead, Chris. All yours.
So this actually came up yesterday. So my first question was from the site perspective. Now we're going to come from the other angle, a CRO perspective. So we're currently working as a CRO on a study, and we're just following past behavior, I guess, when it comes to certain aspects, because we're not, Dan or I are very clear on exactly how this is to be handled. But when it comes to protocol deviations, why is it that all CRAs have all protocol deviations submitted to the IRB, even when they have nothing to do with patient safety? Is that just to relieve themselves of any wrongdoing, not reporting patient safety? What is the rationale behind that?
Well, I think it may depend on the CRA, one, and it will depend on the protocol. What does the protocol deem needs to be submitted? What is the deviation that needs to be submitted? I mean, of course, there are some things that have to be submitted. Is it related to what you're studying? Of course, that has to, be submitted if it's obviously caused by the study drug that needs to be submitted. So there's things that have to be submitted no matter what. But if you have a CRA that is very cautious, then that individual may submit everything. So that may be the situation that you're encountering. Or it may be a protocol that requires deviations be submitted more often, depending on what they are.
Okay, so in my experience, I've never seen a deviation which, even when they're blatantly not patient safety related, I've never seen a protocol deviation that was not submitted.
Well,
We would.
IRBs don't necessarily. Well, I will speak for principal IRB or IRBs that I've been associated with. Don't necessarily like to receive unnecessary.
Of course.
Thank you.
Of
Either.
course.
Well,
Yeah, they always come back.
This is a good IRB. This is the one
Sure.
we want to work with.
Sure.
if we receive a report, what we do, we have a process. And if it's something that we feel is not needed to be reported, we would give you that feedback and handle that.
Not related to patient safety.
Exactly. If it's one that would be, we have a process, and it would be handled that way. You know, if it needed to be reviewed by a board member, or it needed to go to the board, or it needed whatever, we have a process of how it would be handled. But some of them don't need to go that route, and it would get a stamp and file, and we would let you know that.
You can call us. We do. I mean, you can submit it to us. We do a pre-review, and we know pretty much what our board will and will not. We know what they will not approve.
Yeah.
The pre-review, we review all that, and we get back with you and say, you know, do you want to change this?
Yeah.
Have too many blood draws? Do you have too much, you know, whatever? And that pre-review expedites everything. And it doesn't cost anything extra. You can just call us.
This is something that I definitely feel pretty strongly about, because this is something that when I got involved in IRBs, I started out with was reviewing safety reports, and I was inundated with them. My background is in the medical field, so I would review the safety reports, and they would banker boxes full of them, and a lot of them or deviations, if you would, and IRBs, as I said, they don't like to get those reports that don't need to come to them any more than you like sending them. Mm-hmm. That's something that we like to work together with the site to make sure that if we could decrease that, then we will.
Yeah, and you know, what's rarely talked about is IRBs actually have a good amount of power over a site. I mean, they rarely, if ever, do they, that I'm aware of, abuse it. That's not their purpose. But one of my sites has been audited by an IRB once. I actually learned a lot during that experience. Everything went well. They just found some minor things. But what triggered the audit was a lot of deviations. And so, how often or how common is it for an IRB to audit a site?
Well, for a cause audit is probably pretty rare. But we like to just do a routine visit. We don't like to call it an audit, but just a routine visit to see how things are going. Not that often.
You ever had an IRB visit? No? I have it once.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we like to keep it as free. But whenever you call and say,
well, actually, I've had one too.
The IRB just want to come by and say hi, people tend to freak out.
Yeah, we'll lock the doors. We're gonna leave for the day. So, nice ceiling. We like that. You're in the palace. You're in the Versailles. Now you guys are boutique, just like us, but you have experience from the bigger IRBs. There's been a lot of mergers. I mean, first of all, what is an IRB board? Can we just talk about the basics first before we get into all the boutique stuff? What is a board? Why? Who? All that stuff. Like, why do we need a board, and then who can join?
Well, all of that, is regulated, by the FDA, the
FDA.
makeup of a board. Um, but our board it's a diverse group of members. We make sure that the board is, a diverse group of people, and you have to have a minimum number of members, scientific and non-scientific. You have to have at least one non-scientific member, and at least one has to be non-affiliated with the institution or with the company.
Which
And
company? The IRB?
yes, yes,
Okay, so at least one member of the board must not be affiliated in any way with your company, and
or
one must be non-scientific.
yes,
Well, even I, as an owner who did business development, FDA would not allow me to even sit in the room.
Really?
well, that's not a regulation. That's not a regulation. That was more of accreditation.
Well, to have to get a mark, they were.
But I'm just reviewing like the regulations for a board.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the makeup of the board.
I gotcha. Because I've always... And does every study have a separate board, or is it just the same IRB board for every study you have?
No, that's
You
not a
might sit
requirement.
there with 10 studies that night, and your board reviews all of them.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Make decisions.
But but that's not the usual. You make it manageable because you don't ever 10
You don't
studies is
try to
not
see
something
too
you
many.
can do in one sitting.
Completely off topic here, but Freddie, can you scoot over about? Or you can do that too. There you go.
There we go. So now, boutique, okay? You guys are boutique, we're boutique. Now, hate to break it to you, but I know we went over this in the pre-interview a couple weeks ago. Sites don't really care what IRBs they use. I mean, they have preferences. I don't even know which IRBs I like or don't like anymore because I'm not in the trenches. I don't fill out questionnaires and...
From a site perspective, I think they're all pretty much about the same.
It's
more
a commodity, right?
right. It's more from the CRO perspective, right? What do you offer? What's your
Yes.
price points? Or
Yeah.
a sponsor? That's really more who cares.
Now,
right?
sites have preferences. I remember, without naming names, when I was coordinating, I would be happier when I was told this is your IRB versus this one. But that's about the extent of it, and I had no power. It's just, okay, sponsor chose the IRB, that's it. That's who we work with. But CROs get to choose.
But as a site and a CRO, do you feel like I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah, good.
With the other IRBs, the large ones, and I won't name any names. I'm not calling anybody. But do you feel like you get that? It's the going to Walmart versus the smaller or the other companies that you like going to better.
Mm-hmm.
You get that Walmart feel where you just you
Just
go
a number.
because that's just the place to go. You get it's the usual. It's you don't like it, but you go there.
So I think Dan and I have different opinions on this. For me, yes, I think they're all just this. I need a dozen eggs. Walmart's most convenient. I'll just go there. Yes. From a site level, I think all IRBs are about the same. From a site perspective, personally, I know Dan said otherwise, but again,
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, when I was a coordinator, I just remember like I had good experiences with certain IRBs and not so good with others. Mainly, it was like their turnaround time and me having to follow up rather than the opposite. So I would have preferences, and then I would build their brand in my head as to who I prefer.
That may have changed because they all seem to follow up fairly regularly. Like your IRB report is due, next month.
Mm-hmm.
You see those emails all the time from everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So that may have changed, right? Again, I think from the CRO perspective, it's a completely different animal, though.
You know where it comes in handy having this boutique approach is with these investigator-initiated studies.
Oh, absolutely.
And luckily for you guys and for us, because a lot of our customers are investigator-initiated studies for our CRO, they love that hand-holding. I mean, you're going to have sponsors who have never done a study. And we're in a biotech boom right now. I mean, there's tons. We just talked to someone 3 hours ago who has no clue about research. but he wants to roll out like 10 protocols next year. So these people don't even know what IRB is. Like, we have to tell them as a CRO, wait a minute, you need this thing called the IRB. And then, they get the protocol approved through you guys. So I think the boutique approach works best for those kind of clients. And I think, like I said, the industry is moving more in that direction. So what are some of the... And then I don't know anything about universities other than local IRBs, from what I hear, are a pain to deal with. I don't know if that could be a market for you guys, or if that's something you're pursuing with Principal.
It is, and our the customers that we are talking to or working with are the ones that want that more of that hand holding and less of that big Walmart walking through the clothes and the tires and to get that dozen of eggs.
Yeah.
So those are, and that's who we want. It seems it works.
So let's say I'm a sponsor. I don't know anything about research, but I want to do a study. And I have the rough draft of a protocol. I send it to my regulatory guy or gal. They send it to the FDA. They have a conversation. They say, okay, this is good. You just need, you need to run it through your IRB. So now I just Google, I find you guys, or maybe I'm in Central Florida and I met you at a conference, or I watched this video, and so I'm calling you guys, you gals. What do you tell them? Like, hey, I'm a new sponsor. This is our protocol. Here it is. Like, what's the process from that point going forward? Like, what is the process for that sponsor?
Well, I introduced them to our system and our 21 CFR Part 11 compliance system that Deb mentioned, and it's very user friendly, and that's where they're going to go and upload all of their documents, and we train them on how to do that. But the first thing that we would do is take a look at their study, their protocol, their consent, work with them to see, if there's anything that needs to be, looked at or, tightened up, and do a pre-review with the board, with a board member. So we work with them before it goes to board to try to get everything as clean as possible before the review. And I think that really does a great service for them before their review. Saves a lot of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they'll get hand holding because you guys are boutique, so you're able to save them time and money by letting them know, hey, at first glance, this inclusion criteria could benefit from having this, or I know this board and they're not going to like this exclusion number 9, something like that.
Yeah, and also, and to make sure that that I pull from the proper expertise too from the board too for that review, for that pre-review, so that I get the right answers for that client.
Okay.
Are you all familiar with our accreditor, AHARP?
No.
That we'll be seeking, yeah.
No.
AHARP. It's the gold standard for IRBs, the accreditation. And actually our chairman of the board worked for AHARP for 5 years.
Huh.
And he's wonderful.
Have you heard of it?
I've heard of it.
I've seen the stamp on like the IRB rosters or whatever we're supposed to ask for, right? The IRB rosters. And again, sites could care less, but I think it's good, sites do care about certain things. Namely the recruitment stuff I asked, and I'm going to get into, we'll only have time for one question, but I'll get into that question. But we may have, I'm going to send this video to one of our sponsors, because they haven't selected an IRB yet for their study, right? Think that'd be a good idea? We have a new study coming up.
Oh, yeah.
They might need an IRB, so they need hand-holding, too. That's an ideal client.
Sure.
Let me say, too, that our fees are
very competitive.
See, that's what they want to hear. These people love that. Repeat that, please.
Are very competitive, and with some of the large ones, I would say
we do very well.
Yeah.
A big difference. A very
Good.
large one. We can send you a fee schedule or
Yeah,
Okay.
whoever you're working with, give them have our information. So
Good. I know they're working with one of the big ones. They're working with like the Walmart of the IRBs.
no,
We've gotten quotes from them too, and we're blown away by the prices.
come on over to Fresh Market. Yeah, we've worked with all the major pharmaceutical companies.
Okay.
Our other company.
Chris, while I search for this question, anything else? It's very rare. It's going to be another 15 years until we get another IRB out. Ask now.
Right here is the opportunity, huh?
Yes.
I don't really have any other questions that come to mind. I would mention, maybe it'd be better at the end of the video, if you have any contact information you want to put out there on the video.
Oh yeah, let us know where we can find you. Anyone watching or listening. I'll have links underneath in the show notes or underneath the video. How could they reach you? Are you guys on LinkedIn, website?
Yeah, our website is Principal, PRINCIPALIRB.com. That's where we're located.
Okay, good. PrincipalIRB.com.
We're totally electronic.
Yep. We don't waste paper.
Good.
Environmentally friendly. I can't say it, but we are that.
That's very important.
We had a huge paper trail at our last company.
Yes, we did. We don't do that now.
We don't do that now.
No, we don't do that now. Our phone number is 366-226-3038. And we are on Twitter and Facebook and
Pinterest.
Yeah. Very good. So here's one. It's related to the first one I brought up, but this is an actual site. It said, "Hey Dan, I would need this person demanding. I would need more understanding on how we can advertise in social media, like Facebook, without causing issues with sponsors. Some want IRB approval, some don't mind. Confusing." So this person's not demanding. They're just frustrated. They don't know what to do. They're probably in charge of recruiting at the site, and a sponsor probably told them, "Hey, run this through your IRB." When they did, just like you said earlier, if it's just branding, the IRB is going to say, "This doesn't go through us. Take it back." And so this person's left with basically nothing and a bunch of work to show for it. So what?
If it's their company, if it's their company brand, if they are, if it's an advertisement for their company, I mean, I can't emphasize that enough. I mean, company advertising is not the same as subject recruitment advertising.
Now, how about this? I got a simple one sentence, an image, and then a link to a page where you can put your info. And the post says, "We're a clinic in Orange County, California. We specialize in schizophrenia studies, many going on at all times. Click here to enter info." I'm picking one on purpose that's like gray area.
Yeah, that one is a gray area.
Yeah,
one is because a person you're engaging someone to put in their information. Very gray area.
So what if I say...
Who goes on that one?
What if I say click here to learn more, and it has a contact box there?
How about you don't say click here and you just put your phone number?
So click, or don't click, call. Call to learn more.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
You liking this?
No.
Nope.
See, my issue with the industry as a whole is there are so few hard and fast rules.
Yeah.
Whether it be IRB, whether it be sponsor, CRO, there's so much gray area when it comes to almost any topic. It's frustrating from a site level very often.
Welcome to research.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's all gray area. Regulation.
Yep, all of it.
Regulation equal gray area.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be convenient if they just said, okay, here's the rules, everybody follows these rules, period?
Yeah, it would be very convenient. It would make everyone's life a
so
little
much
bit
easier. Yeah, you would know right where you stand. Hey,
yes.
All I have to do is look at my guidebook here, and I know how to handle this aspect or this topic.
Yes, you get no argument from me there, sir.
Yeah.
At all.
So, Instagram follower, I hope that answers your question. If you're advertising or branding your business, no IRB needed. If you're even remotely close to the gray area of recruiting in any way, IRB approval. So try to just brand.
And if you're unsure, ask your IRB.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just submit it.
Yeah.
Call us.
If in doubt,
look at it.
If in doubt.
Well, what I've done, I've actually done this like years ago. I've gotten generic things approved by IRBs every year, just so that I could post them. So if a sponsor ever asks me, "Hey, I found your posting on Facebook. Is this IRB approved?" I can show them that yes, it was. So that's another thing you can do. It's gonna cost like $400 for, well, I don't know the fees now, but this was like 09, 08. It's not much. If you want peace of mind as a site, get IRB approval. Send it to principal. Why don't you send it to principal IRB?
You can do better than that on pricing. So you can send those over to us. Those generic advertisements, you can send them over.
Send your ads to principal IRB, and let's see what happens.
Shameless plugs.
Shameless plug. That's good. Good strategy. Anything else, ladies?
Info at principal IRB. Send us over any if you need additional information. Just email me.
And we should do like maybe every 2 months. I'll gather questions from the community, and then we'll do a Q&A session. And then any CRO sponsors watching, obviously there's a lot of value in a boutique anything when you don't know what you're doing. You need the extra hand-holding. So Principal IRB is good for that.
We want to hear what their pain points are.
Well, you let us know about this event you got coming up in Orlando.
May 2019th. It's either going to be the greatest thing to ever happen to research or just a complete dud. We don't know yet. We don't know. But
well, Orlando, so it'll be pretty good.
Okay, good. So we'll do that. We'll do more. We'll do more interviews with you guys, and we will encourage everyone to go check you guys out. Reach out to you, and we'll be in touch soon.
All right, super cool. Info at principalirb.com.
There you go. Thank you, everybody.
All right.
Thank you so much.